Andra's titties, you found it! I tried using magic to get the vase down, but alas. Thankfully, you and your little friends came along and saved the day.
Excuse me. We're all bigger than you are, Nimdude.
I may be small, but my magic is not, I assure you. Ah, yes, I didn't I? The cost is well worth it. Such a godless artifact is worth its weight in gold. Think of all the secrets and memories it holds. Well, I'm not surprised you don't know of the Godless. But they were here in the Living Lands long before we were. Long before anyone else, as far as I can tell. Give or take a few thousand years. They lived on every corner of the lands. You must have passed a few of their ruins on the way here. The big ones, with spires that look more than a little phallic. A lot of their structures were embedded in the ground. They lived in harmony with the land. I mean, as much as you can live in harmony with the land actively trying to kill you. Maybe it was nicer back then. 30 years of research, and as far as I can tell, they just upped and disappeared one day. Fascinating, right? Don't ask questions unless you want the answers, dearie. Of course. Follow the path through the fields. The settlement walls should appear through the fog. I'd best pack up myself. I have a vase to study. Thank you for your help, Godlike. Even if you didn't have a ladder.
Well, that's something I hope never happens again.
I've got a few inches to spare if she changes her mind.
Darling, you are aware I can see you digging through my things, aren't you?
Take a moment, people.
Worse than rust!
Granted, I don't come here often, but when did it get this bad?
Here we go. Next one's mine. Left leg. Nothing like a win with a good team.
As if people weren't hungry enough.
I don't see what's the problem.
If you can't see it, I doubt I can explain it to you.
Tell me.
You're the first godlike to come through in... well, I can't remember how long. I hope that's a good sign. I'll take what I can get. If the gods don't bless us with a harvest soon, this market will be empty come winter. Really? You know the gods don't exactly favor animancy. I'll wager you have more questions than most. If you need an animancer, you'll have to clear it with the governor. He lives in the big manor on the far side of town. Let me know if anything strikes your fancy. We don't have much, but the harvest hasn't bled us dry yet.
What do you mean that's all you've got? Last week you said there'd be grain.
You know what I said. We only have so much to go around.
Gods, what do I tell Sovia? What do I tell the children? It's not bad enough that their mother a little earlier and you'd have beaten the other bandits to my crops. But I guess that's on you, isn't it? Ah, finally! Someone who cares about something other than themselves. When they ran away, I saw them following the river north. They're probably hiding up there, waiting to steal from someone else. You come back with my crops, and I'll give you whatever I can. You can't put a price on survival.
Take your
The Emperor's envoy. Inquisitor Ludwig said you might be heading this way. Captain Alfair of the Steel Garrote. If you're here to speak with Vidaro, I'm afraid you'll find the governor is quite beyond reason. These Valians and their love of animancy. Fair enough, envoy. Talk to the man all you'd like. When diplomacy fails, the Steel Garrote will be ready to ensure the safety of Adirian interests. Barter for peace, prepare for war. We all have our part to play, envoy. Until later.
She's as subtle as a broadside.
Does subtle mean something different outside of Solace?
Be careful with old Nuna. Oh, those poor souls. Please bring them peace and... Becoming part of a blight is not a fate I would wish upon. At all godlike. I've heard whispers that one of your kind was here in the Living Lands. It is a pleasure to meet you. In case it wasn't clear, I'm the point of contact for anyone with bounties to turn in. So return to me if you have any to claim. Auret Auguri. I hope to see you soon.
Genuine healing crystals, purest in all of Eora.
Oh, you startled me. This old woman can get lost in prayer from time to time. You must be the Adiran envoy I've been hearing about. Apologies for any hardships you may have experienced getting here. The failing crops, the strange beasts, and even the dream scourge are all the result of our neglect of the dead. I was calling on the spirits of the recently dead to follow the guidance of Bareth, god of death. I am asking the spirits to forgive us for our negligence and continue on their way without anger. The dead of Fjord expect certain rituals to be carried out. I have failed to perform those rituals, and now the spirits are angry.
Are you volunteering us to hang out in a graveyard?
Oh, if you would, that would simply be wonderful. I wouldn't know how to thank you. Our recent dead require a final meal to ease their passage from life. Without it, they can't rejoin the cycle.
You've got people waiting in line for their next meal, and you want to waste food on the dead?
I got food from the grain merchant stores. I just need someone to leave it at the graves. The dead will take it from there.
Flesh and bone. They bring the fruit to those who cannot eat. What tree calls for its branches to endure these rituals?
Of course. I follow a Valian tradition that teaches that the journey back to the cycle is a long and perilous one. Bareth appears as the usher to guide souls into the next life, but those who lose their way risk the ire of the Pallid Knight. We offer food to the recently dead to still their minds and give them something to offer should the night demand her toll. The recently dead are nearly as alive as you or I. Many don't believe they're dead, and many rebel against Bareth's beckoning. Any peace we can offer only helps them accept their fate and move on to the next life. You must take these offerings of food and place them at 3 grave sites where the recently dead lay. The first offering goes to a cliffside grave on the southern coast. The second offering goes to a grave in the swamp, far to the west from here. The final offering should be taken to the truffle farm east of Fjord, where a family lost their lives to the encroaching wilds. I believe it will do exactly that. The spirits will find closure and rest, and the living can move on from this recent tragedy. Be careful, friends. The angry spirits lash out blindly. I cannot predict what awaits you at these graves.
Next time you want to tour graveyards, I'm staying at camp. We should help the living and let the dead rest.
I can't thank you enough for helping to ease the conscience of an old lady. Please, return when the rituals are complete.
Jata, what's the meaning of this?
Look at these crops. Look at your city. The Dream Scourge is laying waste to our home.
There is no Dream Scourge in Emerald Stair.
The land. How can you ignore what's right in front of you? The Dream Scourge is here, in the soil, and it's killing us. Oh my goodness. Are you a godlike? Charmed. Forgive me for staring. It's just, we don't see many of your kind anymore.
Maybe you can talk some sense into our governor. Put the fear of the gods in him.
Seems more likely you'll have to punch some sense into him.
Excuse me. But unless you have official business, I'll thank you not to involve yourself in our private discussion. Very well. I hope you remember that behind these walls, your influence has limits.
I'm sure she didn't come all this way just to challenge your authority. As you can see, I was just proving a point to our esteemed governor.
A cart full of spoiled vegetables. You call that a point?
Ha! Emerald Stair used to be a lush garden for miles around, and now I don't even recognize it. First came the invasive species, roots and mycelium growing overnight, as though nature itself had gone mad. The Dream Scourge has twisted our lands, our wildlife, and now, our farms. Then there's no time to waste arguing with bureaucrats.
We definitely agree on that.
I believe that we can restore the land, bring back its soul and its sanity, cut off the Dream Scourge at the root. Our governor would rather ignore the problem. He doesn't trust animancy as his father did. Before we can deal with the Dream Scourge, we first need to understand it. Unfortunately, new experiments have to go through him.
Must be nice that all the arguing isn't about you, for once.
I'm just trying to stop Chiata from hurting herself. Animancy is dangerous when you're shooting in the dark. Are you going to tell her about your family's basement? Or should I?
How dare you use that against me?
I know it was an accident, but look what it cost you. We can't let it happen again.
While we argue among ourselves, the Dream Scourge is tearing the living lands apart. Tearing our people apart. Really? Unexpected from an Adiran. But how could I refuse an offer like that? Well, Governor, looks like I'm taking some time away from my duties. I'll trouble you no more.
Your request is denied, Chiata.
I wasn't asking.
Your responsibilities are to the settlement. Turning away from them sets a precedent that I cannot allow.
Everything I have proposed has been for Fior, and you still refuse to cooperate. Under the circumstances, I don't have much of a choice.
Then neither do I. Chiata Castel, from this day forth, you are banished from Fior Messiverno.
Banished?
What?
Ignacy, we can't lose our brightest animancer in the middle of a crisis.
Your pupil has gone too far, Quilici. Take her and leave. You're still a guest in my town, but to us, Chiata is an outcast. Perhaps, but I can't just let her continue to poison the minds of my animancers.
They aren't your animancers. Your father understood that.
Don't bother, old man. He isn't his father. I've done all I can for Fior Messiverno. But you haven't even tried. Now limp back to your giant house like a good dog. We should talk somewhere private. Meet me at my house due west by the workshop.
Another mouth to feed. Maybe we'll need to let Kai hunt more after all.
I'm sorry you had to see that. What an asshole.
Giata, some manners, if you please.
I thought she was being polite.
We're on the verge of extinction, but our governor is too busy protecting his fragile ego. I can think of one. He's an entitled little worm who can't stand to be proven wrong.
You did challenge his authority.
I know, but... curses. Without Fior Messiverno, I'm hardly even an animancer. My tools, the workshop, all gone.
I wish I could take credit for Giata's stubbornness, but she learned that on her own.
Thanks, old man. At least now I'm free to study whatever I want. On my terms. The Dream Scourge has been a thorn in my side for too long. I have plans for this island, and they don't involve the Dream Scourge. But that's a story for another day.
Your parents would be proud to see such tenacity.
Anyway, listen to us babble. Let's talk about you. I never expected to see an Nadiran envoy here. You've got a lot of guts showing your face in a town full of animancers. Likewise, they should be educational for us both. Our first order of business is the Dream Scourge, but I'm also curious about you. There aren't many godlike left these days. Wouldn't that be a coincidence? I only bring it up because Animancy might offer us some insight into your nature. Keep an open mind. While I pack up my belongings, you can help me by... I don't even know. I just realized this is the end. I have to leave your Messiverno. Forever.
Some people don't find out who they really are until they leave home.
You'll be all right. My advice, find a good tavern and learn how to prepare a squirrel over an open flame.
Maybe if I focus on what I have gained, I can learn to accept everything I've lost. When it comes to the Dream Scourge, we haven't been allowed to acknowledge the problem, much less act on a solution. Today, that changes. I need help from the animancers around town, but as you can see, I'm an outcast. I hope so, because we're running out of options. Manto Pastor is in the workshop due west. He's got an invention that can help us. Elia Rossell is an authority on the undead. Her methods are controversial, but useful. She lives in a cottage southeast of town. And then there's Yvette and Remy, our philosophers. You'll find them at the docks, southeast of Fjord. Each of them owes me a favor. Drop my name and they'll tell you what they know about the Dream Scourge. We're about to make history. But first, research.
Guessing she's not much of a hunter. Might want to get extra rations next time we go shopping.
Godlike, Imperial Envoy, Research Assistant. Who knew?
Careful! Or we'll get thrown out of the pub! We're already...
I had one job. What? Look out for her, Fidelio. How hard could that have been? If I could help myself, do you think I'd be in here? I don't mean that. I have a lot on my plate. I'd like to be. They're out searching. Someone had to hold down the fort. My two youngest rangers were supposed to report back from their rounds. I assumed they'd turn up. But it's been 3 days now. They're still not here. Praise Ilia. Their names are Belena and Adalaro. I doubt they'll be apart. They were good rangers once. But since they've caught each other's eye, all they do is sneak off to... I think they know each other very well.
Well, there's worse places to make the four-legged beast. I promise you that.
New recruits running off with each other? Oh man, this brings me back.
Anyway, I never thought I had any cause for concern. They always found their way back eventually, but they haven't this time. They're out there, all alone, and they could be in danger, and The last time I saw them, I sent them to patrol the northern riverbed. If you go that way, please, keep an eye out for them. I'm losing my mind in here.
Two young Nemdutin wandering out by a river. Consider them found.
Maybe we don't look too soon. Give them a while. Know what I mean?
Pour you a drink, good Mike?
The crops ruined. All of it.
Can anything be done?
The Bly thinks I have to give
Well,
up
I'll be a godlike in the bone and bore. Apologies for the ruckus outside. The Animancers never know when to shut their mouths. I might be more amused if it didn't happen so often. But that's Animancers for you. Except Giata and Quilici, that is. They are the only Animancers taking the Dream Scourge seriously. Try telling that to Vidaro and the Animancers. But the rest of us, we've all heard the rumors from outside. Animals gone mad, terrors stalking the wilderness day and night. Birds' bells, of course. If Emerald Stair runs out of food, we are in dire straits anyway. We've had crops fail before, but never food rations. The governor says it's just a temporary precaution, but I am not buying it. So, we ought to drink while we can. Agreed? Anything I can get you? Welcome back, envoy.
Welcome to my fine establishment, Found the machine. Oh, I heard there was a new arrival, but I didn't expect a godlike. Welcome to our modest workshop. Giada, what a loss. I owe that young woman more than I could ever repay. Unfortunately, I cannot do a lick of research while my equipment is underpowered and overworked. Ha! A novel idea, that. What I need is a stronger power source. We can't make something out of nothing. We're still limited by our resources. I could use a large single block of Adra, but harvesting it is difficult in this environment. Oh, wait. One of our rangers reported that an Adragon recently died in a western grove. Indeed, but that well is almost dry. I need more. An Adragon's heart can hold an immense amount of essence. The grove is to the west, across the chasm. You can't miss it. The rangers say a Delamgan queen holds court there. You may be able to retrieve it without violence, but most Delamgan in these parts are hostile to Keith. So you can understand why none of us went rushing over there to find it when we heard the Adragon. Do be careful. Emerald Stair is not itself these days.
If you can convince her to hand it over, I'll be more than impressed.
The Adra is healthy. It's the essence I'm concerned.
Bayaftados. Tom! I can't let anyone else discover this.
You ever think, what if I wasn't a ranger?
Of course. What would you do? I'd be a flower picker.
Spirits are truly wonderful, powerful, self-aware, and reach with insight.
Insight, you say?
You know, the spirits have access to life.
Yeah, I pretty much brought that plague bear down by myself.
Did you now?
Captain Masoni said he'd never seen anything like it.
they come! Coming from your right! Everybody all right? This place could use a broom or two. Maybe a team of carpenters.
I don't think it's fair. I didn't do anything wrong. Probably using me as an example. Pick on the new kid, you know? I'll be back out there in no time.
In the past week. How am I supposed to live like this? Ah, Ado. You've caught me at an unfortunate time. You wouldn't happen to be an animancer. Matiko. I mean, forgive me. It has been a trying week. If I have to chase down one more revenant, I'll lose my mind. I don't know. They just disappear. I wish they would at least come back. Soon I won't have any left. People? People are used to the damned things wandering around. I'm the one who's panicking here. If Elia finds out, I'll never hear the end of it. She wouldn't push her research far enough. She wasn't willing to take risks.
Whatever you all are doing, it's clearly working wonders so far.
And how's that risk-taking working out for you?
You know, maybe there is something. Maybe I know where they went. I've caught them trying to shamble off to the nearby lake before. Revenants aren't very bright. That can't be a coincidence. They must be attracted to something. It could even have power over them. I was hoping you'd say that. Just follow the trail of revenants. I'd look myself, but I don't trust the few subjects I have left. Oh, and if you find something, I'd be grateful if you brought it here. I want to see whether it leads the surviving revenants back. The only way to find out is to experiment.
Those are no ordinary farm hands.
A godlike in Emerald's Den. Well, well, maybe our luck's improving. I'd offer to shake your hand, but I've been elbow deep in Beatrice all day. Beatrice. You know, the one with her viscera on display? As you can see, this is my reanimated corpse farm.
Oh, and what do you use for fertilizer? Other corpses?
I'm trying to demonstrate the value of undead labor. But of course, nothing is ever that simple. What am I supposed to do? Just let them decompose? Reanimated corpses are the future of manual labor. Cost-effective, low maintenance, and very friendly. Now, Beatrice, she's being a real problem, if you can believe it. Would you be a dear and reach into her guts? Feel around for anything that doesn't belong. Giata Castel wants my professional opinion. What an honor! I have a few theories, but no firm conclusions. I have to ask, is it true? Did Vidaro kick her out of town? He's a bigger fool than I thought. Very well. I'll tell you what I know about the Dream Scourge. But first, I need some help around the farm. I'm up to my ears in chores around here, and the Revenants can only do so much. They can't do complicated tasks, you see. Anyway, I'm afraid the time has come to put down poor Silvo. Silvo is one of my Revenants. My oldest, my favorite, and the pride of my flock. Someone needs to put the poor fellow out to pasture. And I just don't have the heart to do it myself.
Well, it's already dead. That's the hard part done right there.
When a revenant goes bad, there's only one option. Final death. And poor Silvo's time has come. Thank you for understanding. You can find Silvo in the barn. He's blocked the door somehow, but the window should be open. Just be gentle with him. He's a good boy.
So, we're killing a revenant then? She just couldn't come out and say that?
And this is why I don't take pets.
Quiet as the depths.
Careful where you step. Might be a twig, might be a snake.
Did that tree just move? Keep your eyes peeled.
Did you hear that?
Never mind.
But who's counting?
I saw you reach into Beatrice. Find anything interesting? Aha! So the Blight got into my Revenant and interfered with her raising. That confirms one of my theories. Not only is the Dream Scourge affecting our farms, it's disrupting animancy, unraveling our work. Sounds like I have more research ahead of me, but at least now I have a sense of direction. Thank you for getting your hands dirty on my behalf, godlike. You're a natural. Poor Silvo. He was a bright young revenant, but a very old man. Thank you for giving him peace. So, the Dream Scourge. I've been keeping an eye on the readings from my fields. This plague, as we know it, is a recent development. But I believe whatever causes it is older by far. Maybe even as old as the living lands. The exotic plants and animals, the twisted landscape, the Dream Scourge. They have a common ancestor. There's something about the essence in the living lands that's different from anywhere else I've seen. And end up like Giata? No, thank you. The corpses, they need me. Not to get too superstitious, but in these troubled times, the arrival of a godlike is no coincidence. You are meant to be here. Toward what end, only you can say. Well, I'm happy to give her some good news for a change. You and Giata are going to shake things up. As for me, I'll be keeping a close eye on my flock.
Oh, and thank you for the nightmare fuel. I really have been sleeping entirely too well lately.
I'm remembering why people find this place unsettling.
The great mystery is, are godlike blessed or cursed? Gods answer this question.
Neither. They just are. Anything else is speculation. Remy, look what I found. A genuine godlike.
Do you think they can hear us?
Let's find out. Hello, me, Yvette. You friend? Remy, take a note. Fluent speech and upright posture show marks of sophistication in the endangered godlike. We heard that Giada partnered up with an outsider, but I had no idea you were a godlike. Fascinating.
I suppose we owe her a favor. Or two.
Giata must have sent you to be our test subject. She knows how we adore your kind. Satisfy our curiosity and we'll give you everything Giata needs to finish her research. Deal?
Let's begin the examination. If you could choose, who or what would you be in your next life? Next time you go round the wheel, you might not get so lucky.
Who wouldn't? My turn. Some would call you blessed. Others would call you cursed. The fact remains, you were touched by the gods. Wouldn't you say that you owe something to the rest of us? So, you believe we need your help. Interesting.
Oh, I thought of another. We all know that godlike can't reproduce. How do you plan on leaving a legacy after you're gone? Very optimistic, aren't we? I think that covers everything. Thank you for that brilliant insight, godlike. You're a credit to your dwindling kind.
So, Giata wants to know all about the Dream Scourge, yes? Such has been her research of late. Do you want the good news or the bad news?
The Dream Scourge is proof that an unprecedented metaphysical disaster can take place at any time.
Oh, that's a load off my mind. Sure beats not constantly worrying about the future.
How's that good news?
Giata will be interested to learn that the Dream Scourge cannot just be studied in a lab. Its nature is wild, so it has to be studied in the wild. Our machines and experiments would meddle with it too much.
And like anything affecting the soul, it must be connected to essence. Thus, if she wishes to discover more about the Dream Scourge, a Pillar of Adra would be a good place to start.
Of course. The idea is a bit high-minded. Adra acts like a pathway for souls as they rejoin the wheel.
And the Dream Scourge is a plague of the soul, is it not?
So, just as Adra channels essence, so too may it provide a key to discovering more about the Dream Scourge. An entity, you say? If this entity is your patron, that's all perfectly natural. But if it's something else, with enough essence and a capable animancer, perhaps you could trace this tether back to its source.
Right, and with a little fresh sake, you can follow an ogre back to its lair. Still wouldn't recommend it.
Just be careful that your tether doesn't snap back and kill you in the process.
Now that we've researched the mind of a godlike, the next step is anatomy. But we've taken enough of your time. Farewell. Did you hear
Hurry, before they change their minds.
Ugh, I might have dozed off there for a bit. Were any of those words the ones we needed?
Show me what you got!
Oh, no, you don't! Everyone okay?
Is anybody there? Can anyone hear me? Keep going. I'm down here.
Oh, finally a rescuer. I was beginning to lose my voice. Thank the gods! I've been down here for ages. Oh, 1 minute, I'm engrossed in my research. The next thing I know, whoo, my workshop is in this damn pit. Not until lately. Now they're everywhere. The ruins were probably stable until those roots showed up. Quilici warned Vidaro that the roots would swallow the soil. As usual, nobody listened to him. So, here we are. We've never had plants like these. I'm no botanist, but even I can tell that something's not right. Ah, nonsense! I can't go yet. My notes are down here somewhere. They contain priceless data on the wildlife around Fjord. Ah, Now stop treating me like a bag of bones and listen for a minute. As soon as I dug them out, a gang of sporlings ran off with them. I can heave myself topside in time, but I'm in no shape to fight. If it makes you feel better, fine. They ran into the ruins. Now hurry. I can't have a sporling eating my life's work. For all I know, they could be halfway to Nakutadek by now.
Take him down. Take him back.
You're alive? I mean, you're back. Ah, did you find my notes? Ah, yes, the cover's a little worse for wear, but the notes are intact. My findings on squirrel essence are going to change everything. Everything! What's not clear? I'm researching squirrel essence. I've nearly proved my theory, too. As everyone knows, squirrel brains grow and shrink in accordance with the nut season. So I thought, what if a squirrel's soul shrinks too? Huh? I propose that the size of our soul corresponds to our brain mass. If it weren't for this sinkhole, I would have already submitted it. I can't imagine any of my specimens are still intact, and I'll have to find somewhere to sleep. But I've got my notes. I can try again. Take this. Buy yourself something nice. It's the least I can do.
What just happened? I heard something about a squirrel.
You take lead.